Now I am pleased to welcome the Valedictorian for the Master Divinity class of 2020. I still remember when this seminarian came for his interview, and he told me about his diocese, the Syro-Malabar Diocese of St. Thomas in Chicago. I still can't say that without a breath in between. And about the wonderful movement he took part in, Jesus Youth. Before coming to SVDP, he earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics and computer science from University of Texas, Pan American, as well as a master's degree in philosophy from Holy Apostle Seminary in Cromwell, Connecticut. His parents, Joseph and Tessie, live in McAllen, Texas. He is completing the Master Divinity with a 4.0 GPA. Impressive. We usually speak of our successful graduates and talk about how far they are going to go. But we know that he is going to stay right here as he moves on to further studies, working with the Syro-Malabar Parish in Coral Springs, and with the Jesus Youth Movement, and in particular with the Jesus Youth Seminarians here at SVDP. I present our 2020 Master Divinity Valedictorian, Deacon Thomas Pulickal.
Well, I'll just get right into it. Winston Churchill, in his early 20s, would often place himself in perilous positions on the battlefield, tempting fate for heroic feats. It seems he did not believe that he could die. We know this because in a letter to his mother, he writes, "I am so conceited. I do not believe the gods would have created so potent a being as myself for so prosaic an ending." In other words, while still younger than most of us here, Churchill felt he was too important to die, that he had too great a purpose in the world. As bizarre as that sounds, it's even more bizarre that he was right. The potency of being is something that cannot but fascinate us students of theology and philosophy. How many billions of people for millions of years looked over the vast expanse of the universe without ever grasping a fraction of its real potential? But Einstein and others looked deeper than before. The famous formula E = mc squared would suggest, if I did my math correctly, that a single raisin of 1 gram has the potential to power the entire city of Miami. Lights, buildings, movie theaters, homes, for 2.5 years. Just 1 raisin. It's only a question of tapping into its potential. If this is the potential of mere matter, here today and gone tomorrow, what is the potential of the human spirit? If God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? People with the greatest faith in God infallibly saw the greatest potential in man. Consider what St. Teresa of Avila writes. "If we reflect," she says, "we shall see that the soul of the just man is but a paradise, in which God tells us he takes his delight. What do you imagine that dwelling must be, in which a king so mighty, so wise, and so pure, containing in himself all good, can delight to rest? Nothing can be compared to the great beauty and capabilities of a soul. However keen our intellects may be, they are as unable to comprehend them as to comprehend God. For as he has told us, he created us in his own image and likeness. What then is the potential of the human spirit? What is my potential and yours? I believe it is a mystery, discovered gradually through humble faith, with a little bit of courage and daring, and a good sense of humor. God has a sense of humor. I'm convinced that that is why I was named valedictorian. I have to be honest, I have wondered whether it is to someone's credit to be named valedictorian in a seminary. And perhaps it is. We graduate proudly today, the Masters in Divinity, Masters of Arts in Philosophical Studies, Masters of Arts in Theological Studies. But I find myself envying those seminarians among us who have mastered the art of doing just well enough. Now that is an accomplishment, often unappreciated, and so I salute them today. After all, you probably know who I'm speaking about. After all, we're not here to become academics. We're here to become holy priests. The priesthood of Jesus Christ, that's the goal. And that is something immense and immeasurable in its potential for the world. Father Robinson has already begun that ministry, and the rest of my class, we will soon. Imagine for a moment the potency of each Mass, that each of us will celebrate each day for the rest of our lives. It's quite unimaginable. There's a prayer that the priest says quietly in the Syro-Malabar liturgy. He says, I celebrate these divine mysteries for the people, your flock, for the remission of their debts, for the forgiveness of their sins, the salvation of their souls, the reconciliation of the whole world, and the peace and tranquility of all the churches. No stone left unturned by the power of one Mass. Brothers, what greater work can we ever do than to celebrate Mass for God's people, and then to mirror in our lives that same love which we celebrate? To those with more years in seminary, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, don't worry. Your story doesn't end here in seminary formation, for that would be too prosaic an ending. I believe that God has us go through seminary formation not to change who we are, but to bring out who we are, to tap into that potential. After all, the Lord does not ordain some sham personality to the priesthood. It is not upon a polished stage persona that the bishop will one day lay his hands, but on the actual human person, the potency of that true person, with all its mysterious depth and infinitesimal nuances, can never be measured. Why should we be shy in acknowledging it? God has made us for some great purpose. I believe that. We are filled with such immense potential that we ourselves cannot fathom it. Only He can, who created us and who has redeemed us, forgiving our sins, healing our wounds, lifting up our broken spirits. And He who has commenced this good work in us, He will be faithful to bring it to completion. Thank you.
And now Monsignor David Toops, Rector-President, will recognize and congratulate those receiving degrees. Those who have completed the requirements of the Master of Divinity, please come forward. Reverend Mr. Thomas Joseph Pulickal of the Syro-Malabar Diocese of St. Thomas in Chicago, summa cum laude.
On behalf of the faculty of St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary, the academic dean has attested to the qualifications of the candidates presented this evening. By the authority vested in me as rector by the Board of Trustees of St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary, I hereby confer the degrees announced this 7th day of May, 2020, and command that the names of the graduates and their honors be recorded in the official transcripts by the registrar of the seminary. Brothers and sisters, congratulations.
This definitively, completely, and finally concludes the 57th year of priestly formation at St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary.